is larger than life. It is called Texas high school football. Only one show can bring the greatest sport from the greatest state into focus. Lone Star Gridiron.
All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Jorvorskie Lane to the show. Jorvorskie, how are you today?
Oh man, I'm doing good. I'm blessed.
Amen. I hear that. So I want to jump back. Normally when I interview people, I jump back to where they lived as a kid, but I'm gonna jump back to where you were born, and your birth story is a unique one.
Yeah. I was born a premature child.
Yeah. I read like 4 pounds. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was 4 pounds and I think 5 ounces.
Wow. And was that a challenge, as you were growing up, or did you just develop pretty quickly?
Oh, I developed quick. I mean, either way, it was a challenge because I grew so quick. And during my city league days in sports, I would always have to take my birth certificate places, and of course, I played running back, so a lot of people would say I was too big to do this, I was too big to do that. So I've always had that chip on my shoulder.
Yeah. So you grew up in Lufkin, and you stayed there all through high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I assume you played the Pee-wees. You got into junior high. When did you notice the Lufkin Panthers were a power?
I noticed that with my grandpa at an early age that Lufkin football was Lufkin football, and it was a little different. So I kind of grew up. I mean, that was the first goal as a young kid, was to be a Lufkin Panther.
Yeah, excellent. And tell me about that. When you finally made the jump from junior high into high school, you kind of jumped in right away and were a big part of the team.
It was just one of those deals where I had been waiting so long to do. I had been training for it, so when that opportunity came, I wasn't going to let it go.
And what year was that? The freshman year?
It was really my sophomore year.
Okay.
Where everything took off.
Got it. So were you part of that 01 state championship?
No, I was a freshman.
So tell me about that. You're seeing the team winning their first state championship since the 30s or 40s or something like that. So Lufkin football had to be just massive at that point.
Yeah, it was just that deal with with Reggie setting the blueprint already. It was like one of those deals where I had already knew that I was next.
Mm-hmm.
So once he left, I mean, I just put it in my hands and the pressure is on me. Here we go.
I love it. And talk about Coach Outlaw, because he was a legend there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's just one of those deals. Me and him have a unique story. Outlaw found me at the age of 9 years old, winning a punt, pass, and kick deal at the high school what they already had in the summertime. So our relationship grew as I grew. Like being at the middle school, just pop up at the schools, pop up, just coming to check on me and things like this. So, like I said, he had already saw what he saw in me as well. So I was the one up next. So I had pressure on me growing up, like, hey, if you want an opportunity, if you want to go to college and things like that, go pro like that, you have to walk on a different path than others.
Yeah, and what was that different path that you had to walk? What explain what had to change.
Well, I come from the hood. You know what I mean? So it's one of those deals where you see the dope dealers, and you know what I mean, kids getting in trouble, and you know what I mean, things what was out there I couldn't do.
Right.
So I had to make an adjustment real quick.
I like it. And then you also had some pretty good teammates too. Talk about those guys.
Oh man, like I tell everybody, man, my best friend Alton, we played in high school together. We got to play in college together. And I I got to play with a guy named Leonard Hewitt in high school, where he was an animal. McKenna Dixon that went to Tech. I got to play with a guy named Tyson Kirksey, Aaron Darks, in high school. Like we was the Alabama before Alabama in high school.
You were
know,
Beast Texas.
right. So I got to play with Ja'Cory Shepherd. I got to play with Terrence Parks that went to Baylor. I had my cousin Drew Parks as well, went to A&M, played with Reggie. Man, like it was one point that you couldn't miss in Lufkin, Texas when it came to a football player.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And a little known guy named Des Bryant.
Oh, Dez, he is like Quinn Holman, Dez Bryant, Bryce Taylor. Like, dude, I can go on and on and on and on about Lufkin High School football, man. It's really crazy.
I love that. And I read that you actually caught a TD pass from Des Bryant.
But no, he caught one from me.
Oh, he caught it from you. It's the other way around. Nice.
Yeah, he caught it from me in the playoff game.
I love that. So you're playing at a great program. You're getting noticed. Colleges are talking to you. Talk about the recruiting process. Who reached out to you?
A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida, Washington State, and Oklahoma State.
Nice. And what was the deciding factor there?
For me, man, it was really, like I said, I was raised with my grandparents. So being close to home was my main concern. Mm-hmm. And then my high school principal, Rod Knight, he pulled me to the side and broke down the life after football part of being an Aggie.
Yeah.
So I took that in consideration. It was close to home and I could play early. So
there you go.
I chose Aggie World.
There you go. And Aggie World wasn't super strong right then, but because they've had better teams before and after. So talk about that transition to being an Aggie.
Well, for me, it was simple, man. I really didn't look at the program within itself. I was looking at myself and making a name for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we wasn't good my first year, but my second year we got it together. Yeah. And my junior year we got it together. So it's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to being an Aggie for sure. But at that time, being so young, I was just so focused on going to class, making a name for myself. And I put my talent together, and here come the J Train.
There you go. There you go. And then, I guess give me a story from your college days that stands out, something that, you're like, oh yeah, this is something I will never forget.
Beating Texas in Austin, 12-7.
I love it.
For sure. Day after Thanksgiving.
That's awesome. And then, after college, you're undrafted. Was that a surprise?
I mean, at that time, I didn't know if it was a surprise or not a surprise. You know what I mean? I had just lost my grandfather on a lot of things that was going on in my life where football wasn't even a focus.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a surprise and it wasn't a surprise because, like I said, I had given up on, like I was so confused, lost in life at that time. So I don't even remember if it led me down or not. I was on a whole different plan and I wasn't ready to play football at that time.
And I assume, I'm going to still go chronologically, but I assume we're going to talk about some of those struggles when we get into the book.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now so you're undrafted. You got some issues going on in your life. How did you, decide what am I going to do now?
Man, it was rough. I mean, I don't even know what made me click, or I don't even know what made it click. Mm-hmm. I just knew that I was good. I just knew that I was better than a lot of people at that time. And I just really had to make my mind up to where, okay, cool. If this is what you want to do, let's do it. And if I just took what my papa always said was, if you go do it 110%. And so once I finally done that, that's when I got my opportunity.
Okay, and what was that one? That opportunity?
So I went to Arena League in
Yep.
Odessa, Texas IFL for about 6 to 8 games, and then I knew who I was, and it didn't fit who I was. So I went back to school. I enrolled back in school, started classes, and I had went to watch my brother play in Chicago against he was with Green Bay, and he was playing against the Bears on Monday night. And I hung with my brother one weekend, and it finally clicked. I went I became Superman. Felt like.
Nice.
So man, I was about 312 pounds at the time.
Ooh.
And man, I got to 260 in 3.5 months.
Hmm.
All I needed was a pair of shoulder pads, and a helmet.
Yeah. I love that. So when you're in the Arena League, though, what was your thinking there, and what made you go, nah, this is not it for me. I want to get back to the NFL idea.
Oh, just my experience at Kyle Field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being the guy at Kyle Field and going to playing in front of maybe 400 people, 300 people, 100 people. No, this not the entertainment role that I dreamed of.
Right. Right. And then, did you try out anywhere before you got picked up by Miami?
No, I was I was in I was in College Station working at going to school,
Mm-hmm.
working at Ashley.
And then you just decided, hey, I'm going to the Miami's training camp, or how'd you get into Miami?
Well, me and Mike Sherman had problems going into my senior year, moving me to fullback,
Right.
me going from tailback to fullback. And like I always remember what my grandparents taught me was don't burn bridges. So of course he as a coach, you know what I mean. Now that I'm older, I kind of understood what he was teaching me. It was more of a life lesson of
Mm-hmm.
being a pro, looking to parts, things like that, for as how my body and stuff like that look right. So I just remember it's a guy named Gary Reynolds, rest in peace. He was he was Sherman's right hand man when we were all together. So when I was working out one day and I was in shape, he looked at me. He's like, "Hey, J Train, bro, you in shape? You still thinking about this football deal?" I was like, I love to give it a shot. So right then he called Mike Sherman in Miami. Right then he took me to the locker room. We took a picture of
Mm-hmm.
my weight. I was like 263 at the time,
Nice.
and he called Mike Sherman. He set up a meeting. Mike Sherman called me the next day, and I was at Bryan Lake, enjoying the weekend. And I get a call that I didn't recognize, and it was Coach Sherman. So I answered the phone. And he was like, "Hey, Jorvorskie, I heard you in shape. This and that, this and that. I've always told you once you got in shape that I do my part on my end to get you a look. I can't guarantee you a spot. That once you get here, all the performance is on you." Said, "Okay, cool." He was like, "Well, I'll be in touch in about a week, 2 weeks." I said, "Okay, cool." Shoot, 10 minutes fly by. I get a call right back from Mike Sherman. "Hey, can you be here tomorrow?" "You damn right I can be there tomorrow." And I packed light and I never came back.
Nice. Nice. And what was that like, being in the NFL finally?
Man, all the hard work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even though I had to come through the back door, you know what I mean? It was just my grace to God just to show you hard work and dedication, keeping your faith, and anything like that you can do, anybody can do, and you just keep your faith and keep going. And like, you really can't let nobody write your future for you.
Right on.
If you put it in motion, it may not come tomorrow, but 6 months to a year or however long it may take you to get there, your opportunity will come.
I love that. Yeah. So talk about your I guess tenure as an NFL guy. How did that go?
Man, it was different. My first year I got to learn a lot from Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
So me coming, like I said, man, me coming from Lufkin, Texas, me coming from to who I am and being out the game for 3 years. I hadn't hit nobody in 3 years. I hadn't played the game in 3 years. So I had to come in and I had to learn how to follow. So I had a great mentor in Reggie Bush, man. He showed me how to become a pro, and I didn't understand. We think that we have the pro title, that is we're pro.
Yeah.
It being a pro, it has nothing to do with being an athlete. So I had to learn that. And my tender was cool, man. It wasn't fun because I played fullback. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
one of those deals where it's something that I've never done. I've never played fullback. I've never blocked. I don't even know what the fullback do. All I knew that it was just a piece of football. So if it was the name of the game or it was X's and O's, me playing the game of football, I can do that. But
Nice.
the fact that it was the position, I was way better than being a fullback.
Yeah.
I'm just a ginormous running back. That's all I am. So I mean, my tender was cool. I got to play positions I've never played.
Mhm.
Uh, Punt, kickoff return, and kickoff and punt return, stuff like that. So it was fun, man. I got to travel the world, man.
Yeah.
I got to play against some of the best. I got to play with. I mean, I learned a lot more than just football. So
Yeah.
I take a lot of wisdom from that.
Yeah. It seems like once people get out of their city and go to college, it opens up their mind. And then once they get out of college, see some of the world, it changes everything. How did that affect you?
Oh, dude, it changed. It changed me. Like I get to reflect coming back to my hometown and going back to my hometown, just going to different places and seeing different people. You know what I mean, and just being blessed to do what I done, man. I'm honored. I'm thankful for for that opening my mind to expand my dreams.
Right on. Yeah, if you could talk about who were some of the big influences in your career as far as helping you see the big picture and not be so self-centered as we all are when we're young.
Well, man, it's really the game of football taught me so much. Like I say, way more than just the sport. It taught me life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that was my hardest transition of being done was the teamwork aspect that I was missing when it came to teamwork. When you get in the real world, man, you see a lot of selfish things and people don't work together and people don't know how to work together. People don't know how to communicate. People don't know how to work together. It was different,
Hmm.
so it's really just all my coaches, all the organizations, just the whole deal of being an athlete, you
Yeah.
know. That was the motive, was just like, okay, like we we're getting ready to play our opponent on a certain day, but it takes more than just that one day to prepare for that day.
Hmm.
So I would just say the game of football in general was my mentor.
Like that. Nice. And so after, or I guess, when did you know your NFL was over?
Oh, the second time I broke my leg.
Yeah.
I could have came back from it, but man, I had just come over the mental hump of coming off an injury the year
Hmm.
before when I broke my ankle on the same leg. So
Hmm.
once I broke my leg that second time, I was like, man, I had already put myself through so much a year ago, man. I can't do that again. Like
Hmm.
I questioned my career when I broke my ankle. Now that I break my leg, now that's over with.
And so when you're sitting there, when you finally, it sunk in, you're done, what was going through your head and how did you decide what to do next?
Man, dude, that was the hardest shit of my life.
Yeah.
Um, I went through my painkiller stage. I went through my alcohol stage. I went through trying to figure it out because like you said, well, I've been an athlete. I've been in the game. I've been doing my deal since I was 9 years old. So now that I'm 30 years old, don't know what to do. My mind was playing tricks on me. Um, People say they help, but you don't get too much help. The psychic, the psychology part comes in. Like everything comes into play. Where you can't go play football no more. That's over. That's dead. So trying to go find something different, dude, it was a Hurricane Katrina for me.
And what brought you out of that and started you steered in the right direction?
I've always challenged myself to be great. It's just one of those days where my grandparents and what they raised me to do. Get your shit together. You know what I mean? And like I had to understand that it could be worse. I got my relationship closer to God.
Yeah.
I started going to church. I started reading more. I started changing the people that was around me. Man, I just turned around. I made a U-turn. That's why I wrote the book. Like I made a turn.
A J turn.
I made a J turn. So man, I went in a totally different direction. If it was something that I learned, I threw it away and I relearned life.
Nice. And so what did you start doing first?
First I went to a rehab in California. I didn't realize how the pain pills and the drinking, how it messes with your mental. Yeah. I didn't understand it. So I got to learn myself. I got to learn my family history of why I was acting the way I was acting at times when it comes to drinking alcohol and things like that. So I got to learn myself, man. I got to learn a lot more about myself. I got to slow down in life because, like I said, since 9 years old, I've been on a high-speed chase. And then my life got to slow down. So I got to see things totally different. And it was just the grace of God, man, of me giving myself to him and everything right now, what's happening for me right now it's coming together.
I love that. And I guess explain how you got involved in the beef industry, because I saw the beef jerky and I thought, oh yes, I'm so glad I connected with you.
Man, it's one of those deals where they say Aggies take care of Aggies.
Yeah.
And it goes back to me making a decision to be an Aggie when I was in high school. The life after football aspect. My high school principal. He was a real big influencer of me going to A&M as well. Because he explained to me, like, look, dude, like, you're not gonna be an athlete forever. Like at some point it's gonna come to an end. And I took that, and it's just one of those deals where one of my Aggie brothers saw an opportunity for me and he called me and man, we broke bread and we became brothers and they gave me an opportunity.
Nice. And so to explain to people what it is we're talking about.
Well, I have my own line of beef, from beef jerky, from steaks to ground meat to brisket to whatever, the entire cow.
I'm getting hungry talking to you there.
So man, I have my own line, and it's just simple J-Train Beef.
J-Train Beef. And where can people find out about that?
You can find it. You can find it on JorvorskyLane.com. You can find me on Facebook at Jorvorskie Lane. That's where you can find it.
I love it. And then how did the book come about? What made you start thinking, hey, I need to write a book?
Well, it's always been a dream for me. And as I got older, you kind of get in that people get that stigma of athletes not being smart, not being, you know, all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, the
So,
stereotype, you're a ghetto kid from Lufkin, East
right,
Texas, poor city,
right,
and you're a football player. The
right,
last thing you think of is you're going to write a
right,
book, in a good book.
right. So man, I like to prove people wrong. You know what I mean? Especially about myself. Like that's one of the deals what drove me to play running back, just because somebody told me that I couldn't do it. So that's what drove me. You know what I mean? Once I got to college, he's just a big boy. He ain't gonna be able to do that like what he did in high school. So that's why I played reckless the way I played it, because I had to make. I've always had that chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
So it's just the same thing with the book. You know, I've heard all my life, athletes this, athletes that,
Yep.
this, then, and I'm like, man, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
So once again, let me prove you wrong. So that's how the book came about.
So explain what the book is about.
The book is just about my last name, and I broke it down to what each letter stands for in my last name, and it's about making that turn. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You make that turn and you don't look back. It's about work ethic. It's just really about overcoming.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
So in reading through it, it struck me. I'm wondering when Jorvorskie is going to become Coach Lane. Have you thought about coaching?
You know what? Me and Coach Outlaw right now, rest in peace, man. We battle each other about that all the time, and I don't know.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
I don't know.
That's fair. But you've evolved from a kid to a young man with some wisdom and some knowledge of the game, and more about knowledge of life. And to me, that's what particularly Texas high school football coaches do better than anybody else, is
Absolutely.
impart those life stories and wisdom to kids.
Yeah. And I understand, like, and I'm honest with myself, man. I'm built a little different. I'm wired different. You know what I mean? Like, I know I have something in me that 99% of people don't have.
Mhm.
So I struggle with that as well when it comes to coaching too, because I'm old school.
Yeah.
The old school approach, some people, it's not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to take that in consideration as well too. 'Cause, I mean, that's just who I am. I'm old school. Like, I'm all about discipline, respect, and getting the job done. No excuses. Doing good in
Right.
school. Like, I'm straight old school.
No, I'm with you. I saw some of your Facebook posts and I thought, yeah, you might get in trouble for that as a
Right,
coach.
right.
But I'm with you.
Yeah.
I love it. Cool. So where can people find the book? And on Amazon, and give the full title of the book and where they can find it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Type in Jorvorskie Lane. It's making a J turn, getting in the J lane. Written by Jorvorskie Lane. It's on Amazon. Like I said, it's there. It's ordered. It's a good book. I mean, it's my life story will come, but was just an introduction of who I am, not the athlete.
Yeah,
So I'm just looking forward now. Now I can venture into my life story.
there you go. Now you can add the next chapters. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'll add information in the show notes with links to it so that people can find it easier.
Okay.
But and then we need to talk to you about getting some of them available for sale on Lone Star Gridiron too.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds
Cool.
good.
So what's next for you now?
Man, right now, man, what's next, man? Like I said, man, I've changed my entire approach to life, man, and I put my hands in Jesus. You know,
Amen.
so I've been real patient, and honestly, man, I don't know what's next for me
I
because
love it.
man, without 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 patience, without him, man, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Like, I would have never thought that I would be in the beef game right now.
Yeah.
You know, man, I would have never thought I'm going to feed hundreds of cows and having a relationship with cows, and
Right.
you know what I mean. So, man, it's been a journey for me, man. So, honestly, man, what's next for me is just continuing my path, getting closer with God.
Amen. Right on. Cool. Jorvorskie Lane, guys, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me, sharing some of your story, and we're going to get out there and try to help spread the news.
I appreciate it, man.
You know it.
LoneStarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.